About how I actually became a content creator. Snapchat was like a big deal, and if you know, it had like the flower crown and like the puppy face. Because I am editing my podcast, I'm editing my pictures, and reaches the point where I pick out my flaws and become a content creator, and you want to put yourself out there on any platform, just know that people are gonna cyberbully you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Anna Unscripted. It's so great to be back after a weekend of just relaxing and unwinding. And today I'm going to talk about how I actually became a content creator, because very often I get that question a lot, and I feel like I've done numerous interviews on it, but I just think we should just sit and talk about everything and my hot takes on this industry. So let's start at the very beginning. I actually became part of this industry in 2017, and it's so crazy how it even started. I don't think influencing was a big deal in Trinidad just yet, and we didn't really have content creators per se, but how my journey actually started was kind of pretty unique. So if you do not know, I actually did biology and biochemistry at the University of the West Indies, and because I had such a tight schedule, I never really had that much of a social life, in the sense that I wasn't the type of girl that would go out at night and like climb and stuff. I would either be like in my books, and I just was like involved in like social media at the university. So how it started was I was actually helping with social media on the Guild. At that time I had a lot of friends who were like different people on the Guild, and I would just help with social media because I genuinely enjoyed it, and I guess that was my way of like forming friends in UE. And then I did Miss UEverse. When I did Miss UEverse at the university, I don't even know if they still have that pageant, but we basically had to use social media a lot to like advertise what we were doing, to like post pictures about it so people would know. And that was where I found my first love for social media. And Snapchat was like a big deal, and if you know, it had like the flower crown and like the puppy face and stuff like that, and like boomerangs were a thing. So we were like now really learning social media. Before, I used to use social media, but it was never to the extent where like I was, I guess, like documenting what was like taking place in my life. And then right after Miss UEverse, I did Miss World. I can't really remember what happened in between those two time periods, but I guess I was still posting on social media, and I was helping my friends again on the Guild and helping them like with their campaigns, and I was learning a lot from my friends that knew like Photoshop and like editing and stuff. And I was like, I really love this. Then I have a friend who is a photographer, and again, like I knew at a very young age I had a love of photography. I was just in love with cameras, so I would play around with every possible person that allowed me to play with their camera until I got my first camera. I like begged for it at Christmas before like we used to have digital cameras. So I was the girl in the friend group that would literally be documenting everything, tons of Facebook albums, having photo shoots with my friend Harmony. Like, it's so hilarious the pictures we used to take. And yeah, and then I got this Nikon, which again just increased my love for photography. And then I would, you know, my friend sometimes when he had events and stuff, he would let me like use his backup camera, and I would get to like take pictures at events. So I had that love already for photography and like photos and just capturing any sort of moment. And then when I did Miss World, again, I was doing my degree. I just started to document like my skincare routine, my clothing, what I was doing, and honestly the rest was history. After a while, I guess I wanted to become like a YouTuber, so I started to do like weekly vlogs, like Christmas vlogs, like Vlogmas on my YouTube channel, which has it's now been archived. And then it just became like photos. And then when COVID hit, that was when I really deep dived into like editing videos and like just playing around with different transitions and different apps that I could use to edit. Because back then I didn't really use like CapCut and like InShot and stuff. I would use like Filmora, I would use like Adobe, I would use like these very high-tech apps, because at the time that is what was just like available to me and what all these YouTubers and stuff was like sharing about. Because of course like I'm doing my research because I just really love this outside of like what I was doing with my degree. So this became like my hobby, and I guess what I just loved doing in my spare time. Honestly, during COVID, just creating tons of content kept me sane, to be honest, because I think I would have lost my mind. And I think Summers was open at the time, and I got like these crazy backgrounds. And if I really look at how my content was back then to now, it has honestly seriously evolved. But I remember like my first ever video I did right before the pandemic. I literally, my camera had stopped working because I had got that like years ago, and I had like the iPhone 6, I believe, it was one of those old iPhones. And there was like the car mounts that you could stick on like glass. I stuck it up in my bathroom, and I did like my skincare routine, and it kind of like popped off because back then like quality wasn't a big deal. So I just kept on creating content. I don't know where I blew up, to be honest, but I honestly think it was just like trial and error. As I started to just share like my organic reviews, brands started to reach out. And if it was something that I still do up to this day, I never really accept a brand deal unless I really love the brand, or if I'm not familiar with the brand or the type of service. I try it out first privately, see if it aligns with what I love, and then I proceed to share it with my audience. It's never ever, hey, I want to collab with you, here's some money, please do a review. Like, I never wanted to be that type of person. I always wanted to share and keep my platform the way it's always been. Very real, very organic, very unscripted. So that's how I'm here today. People ask, how did I ever started to collab with international brands? And that's a pretty funny story. During COVID, I would just like tag brands that I really loved, and with that they would reach out to me. Or again, like, I guess I was so brave, I used to slide in these brands DMs and be like, hey, like, I'm a creator, I really love your product, like, here's the type of content that I did, would really love like collabing with y'all. And most of them accepted and wanted to work with me. Not always was it paid collabs at the beginning. It was either like exchange for product, you give a review, or we stock up your products. I think one of the craziest PR packages I ever got, that hot pink suitcase that you'll always see me with. I actually got that from Drunk Elephant at Christmas. Was not expecting it like years ago, and it was filled with Drunk Elephant products. I think up to this date, that is like my absolute best PR package ever in life. And then during COVID, because so many of us spent so much time online, I was able to actually find other influencers online, like internationally and locally, and connect with them. And we would, I guess, just recommend each other and like share email addresses from like PR persons that we were speaking to, and like putting a word for each other. And that's how internationally I started to like be recognized by international brands. And now the rest is history. What do I do now with my life? Because I think people think I do like influencing, content creating full time. And it's so wild because of being on social media so much and being so in love with like this life and creating content and like just being creative. During my last semester at UE, I did like a lot of courses that helped me, and like PR, communications, and then besides that, during COVID, when they had like lots of free courses like through Harvard and like all these different platforms, I did like more courses. And then when persons would do like these master classes online, like I would literally sign up and do it because I just was consumed by social media. I was just consumed by digital. I was just so consumed with photography and videography and just storytelling that I just wanted to honestly learn more. Fast forward now, I completed my degree. While I was doing my degree, I was actually helping friends and family with their social media, and I started to like freelance as a social media manager and a community manager and do user generated content for brands. That then eventually I was like looking for jobs, and I was like, I guess agency life is where I want to put my foot in. I really want to see how this is. I'm usually the talent, I'm usually like seeing everything. I want to try being in the production side of things, and that's where I put my foot into agency life. And it's been approximately 5 years that I have been in agency life, and I think it just became something and a place where I now see my career going. I'm like really happy being in front of the camera. I'm really happy being behind the camera. If I really have to choose, I can't, because I love being in front of the camera, but I also love being able to script write, come up with ideas, be able to see a project like from start to finish for clients. And that is what I actually do full time. So I work in an agency full time. That's my 8 to 5 job. And then in my spare time, I'm a content creator. And it's been like that for years. While I was at the university, I was a student and also creating content. And then I just transitioned to like me working and also being a content creator. How do I balance my time? I mean, it's a question I sometimes ask myself. But honestly, time management and just balancing, and I think I was able to adapt that from being in school and balancing this life, because I had a point of time where I had to balance school, exams, going to events, creating content, being on shoots, keeping my grades up. Like, it was a lot, plus like a social life. So now it's almost the same because I work. So I work, and then on evenings I would be like producing content. Or back then, like, I was a beast. I used to be able to batch produce content. Like, I would spend Saturday and Sunday batch producing like 20 to 50 videos and pictures and like brand collabs, editing it, because that was another thing that I still do up to this day. And now I struggle. I think age has caught up to me, because when I started this thing, I was like 21. I'm gonna be 29. So, or 20. I don't know, it's been so long. But it catches up to me now. I'm probably able to do like 4 to 5 pieces before I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm just so exhausted. I just want my bed. A habit that I have, and I'm so guilty of, is when I do a collab, whether it's like a paid collab, whether it's just like my Fashion Fridays, whether it's like the podcast, as soon as I finish it, I need to edit it. I need to see the final product. So my turnaround times is usually 24 hours to like 48 hours, depending on the situation and the type of content. But I can't sleep knowing I just captured this content. Like, I need to see the final product. People ask, do you do your content and your editing and your filming, or like why you don't get help? I actually am the mastermind behind everything. So I come up with these scripts, I film, I edit, and I post. So, and I also come up with the captions. Most times, I'm like so thankful. My mom has been doing this with me from the start. So I've been able to teach her different tips and tricks with the camera. So she, most of the time, helps me be behind the camera. And if I need to come up with an idea, like, I pass it by her. I'm like, what do you think? Because also, if she's helping me film it, she needs to really understand the concept. And I think that's so important with any team that you have. they need to really understand what you want to achieve as a final product and the types of shot you need to like achieve. So most times I will like show her like, hey, you go in the frame, let me show you what I want, so you know how to like replicate that. Why I don't have help, I was telling someone the other day, I just feel like my voice will be lost and in my type of content will be lost, because I just like to come off as organic and authentic, and I want people to still continue to connect with me, because at the end of the day, like, that's why they were here in the beginning, because of me. I have experimented before where things came off like scripted or like very ads, like my audience just didn't like it, and I tell brands up front, like, I don't do scripted content, I don't do ads like content. It needs to be something that I am experiencing that people could connect to, because then that's not my type of content. I would never want to lie to my audience, and I just can't do it. Like, I just can't come on here and like act, you know. Kudos to people that could do that and that type of content works for them. That's just not my niche. Like, I'm rambling there. So one thing that I have observed and I have come to realize is, and I'm sure like a lot of creators experience this, because I am editing my podcast, I'm editing my pictures, I'm editing my videos, I'm doing my stories, I'm constantly watching myself 24/7. And sometimes it reaches the point where I pick up my flaws. I'm either like, I don't like how my hair looks in this clip, I don't like how my body looks, I don't like how my makeup looks, why am I sounding like this? And sometimes I just can't digest my type of content. I can't look back and hear myself because I just cringe or I pick apart myself. And I think it's honestly because I'm staring at myself 24/7, and I don't think that's normal for any of us to do. Another thing is, if you want to become a content creator and you want to put yourself out there on any platform, just know that people are going to cyberbully you. I've had my fair share of cyberbullying. I still get it up to this day, and it's just like simple minor things sometimes, like your voice. Some people just can't stand the way I talk or I sound, and I'm like, sorry, but that's just how I talk. I can't really change that. Some people just don't like how I dress, or some people just think I'm fat, or some people think I'm skinny, or some people just question a simple thing like me being in traffic. Like, why don't you change your job? Why don't you move? People just have a lot of opinions of your life, and sometimes it could become very overbearing. And sometimes I'm just like, do I really want to share this part of my life? Do I really want to let people in here, because they're gonna have a lot of opinions and say a lot of things? Or I'm like, if I post this picture or video and I'm seeing all these flaws, like, would people see these flaws too and point it out? So I think sometimes the cyberbullying could get very overbearing. Back then it really used to get to me, like, really badly. I'm a mental health, but I think I'm so blessed to have a huge support system around me that will either go for the cyberbullies or just remind me that I need to ignore these people, like, what they're saying about me is not true, or just block them. Like, I don't ever hesitate to block people. I think I actually have over 3,000 people blocked. Yeah. You could just say that you don't like how I look or I sound, and I'm just like, okay, I'll do you the favor, seeing that you don't know how to do it, I'll just block you so you don't have to see my stuff. Like, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, I put myself out there with hopes that I could help someone, or because I just love documenting my life. Like, I just love capturing content and editing it, and I just put it out there, and hopefully people love it. And if people don't love it, like, it's fine. Like, I'm not forcing you to like me or like approve anything that I'm saying out there. The thing is, I have always said I would never share my relationship on social media. Never did it. Was never really comfortable with it. There was a difference between sharing that I'm in a relationship and sharing that I'm with someone and who that person is. And this is the first time I've ever like shared publicly who I am with, made it known, and it gives me so much anxiety. Like, the first few times that I was doing it, it was normal because I was like, people probably wouldn't know, because it's like in a group of people. And I was like, okay, fine. I would still have slight anxiety with it until eventually I was like, whatever, like I'm gonna post about it, like it's gonna be fine. And I don't know, I think it was when I posted the flowers or when I posted him. I think one out of those two posts gave me the most anxiety, because I was just like, here I am opening up a new part of my life for people to like scrutinize or have things to say. And I just had to remind myself, like, I can share what I want. Like, it's my platform. Like, once my partner is okay with me sharing him, like, I'm gonna do it. Like, it's okay to share a moment with us. But again, you open yourself up to people's opinion. And I think that has always been my biggest fear with sharing family, friendships. I have learned my lesson in the past with like oversharing friendships. And then I stopped posting an individual because we're probably no longer friends. And people would ask, like, what's going on with you and this person? And like people would investigate and like want to find out. And that's when I had learned that there are boundaries you need to set. And I've learned that, and I've set that boundaries. And I think that's so important when doing social media, that people should know to set that boundaries. People love, like, there are people that love to share every single moment in their life. And I don't think I'll ever be that person, because I think it's so important to set boundaries and know that what you put out there on social media is always going to be out there on social media. Whether you delete your profile, whether you deactivate it, whether you change your name, it's going to be a digital footprint for the rest of your life. And you need to know what you're going to be okay with for years to come, for your bosses to see, your coworkers to see, your kids one day to see. And I think it's very important that we know this. And like whenever I have talks with like young women about social media, I always tell them, like, be very careful what you share on social media. So while we have just established the fact that you need to ignore the cyberbullies and you need to be very careful with what you share on social media, and that your future self would be comfortable seeing and knowing you shared on social media, I want to talk about and leave you all with this sort of motivation. If you really have a passion, and this goes with anything, with content creation, it's a full-time job. Whether I do this part-time or not, it's still a full-time job, because you need to constantly be learning. You need to constantly be learning these apps, updating your work, updating your equipment. It's an investment too. Let's not talk about that, because when I invested in like my first ring light, back then I spent like $3,000 on a ring light. I was still a UE student. I think I had used like my money for a commercial I did. So I had accumulated all my equipment over the years. But now we have reached that age where you don't really need the fanciest camera. You don't need the fanciest light. They are like small lights you could attach on your phone. Now you have platforms that are free. So just do your research, put yourself out there, but know that I feel like everybody are influencers, and I always say this because a simple thing like you have really good doubles from down the road, you go and you tell your coworkers and they go buy it, you just influence their purchase. So we are all influenced at the end of the day. Followers don't really need to define you. Likes should never even define you. Views should never define you. People are still listening whether you have 20 followers or 100 followers. It's so crazy that if I look back on my life and I didn't take that first step and putting myself out there, I wouldn't be sitting down where I am right now, or having the platform, or having the opportunities. Like just the other day I went to the Korean embassy. I never in my wildest dreams I ever thought that the ambassador of the Korean embassy would ever reach out to me to have dinner at his house. So it's just things like that I just never ever expected, and I'm like so thankful for that opportunity, because I can't wait to see what my life looks like in the next few years if I continue to stick at it. But I would say don't give up. If it's really your dream and it's really your passion, just keep doing it. At first my content was never perfect. Looking back on it, my content is actually so cringy. I'm like, who even allowed me to put this out there? My friends are gems for gassing me up, but like what? So honestly, It's trial and error, and if you really love it, just know that the pros and the cons to it, but never really lose who you are and your voice, and never be that type of influencer that cash grabs at every opportunity. Do opportunities that are aligned with you and your brand. If you don't know where to start, you have all these ideas, pick 4 simple niches. Know that these are the niches that I want to tap into, this is the type of content I want to tap into and work on those things, versus trying to do every single thing. And most importantly, take breaks. And these are for my creators now. Take breaks, because we experience a dread case of burnout sometime, or creative block. And when I experience it, I am so hard on myself, because it happens when you least expect it. It happened to me last week. I had to film the podcast episode. I was so burnt out, exhausted. My battery level was at 0. I couldn't even have a conversation. And I was beating myself up, because I kept saying, oh my gosh, I'm not going to post an episode. Like, why is this happening? I have all this backed up content. Like, what's going on? What my followers will think? What my audience will think? Like, am I disappointing myself? Like, it was just all these thoughts. I was just like battling. And I was like, what if I just push myself? What if I just... And I was just like, you know what? If I push myself, it's not going to be my best type of content. Like, it's okay to just relax sometimes and switch off. Like, social media is going to be there next week. It's going to be there tomorrow. Like, you need to take care of your mental health and just take breaks. And that was something I learned early on in the game. And now I really just... That was how the whole batch producing content worked out for me, because I just knew that, number one, I have lupus, of course. And it's unpredictable what every day would look like for me. I don't know if tomorrow is going to be a great day or bad day. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. So if I could get it done now, I'll get it done now, and I could rest tomorrow. But it was so important for my mental health, because times like last week where I was just hitting that mental wall, I knew what I needed to get done, I just didn't know how to get it out there. I was like, it's okay to rest and come back next week. Like, it's fine. Nobody's going to hate you for that. You don't always have to post. You don't have to show up every single day. You can't show up every single day when your mental health is not the best. So that's like my little advice. I had experienced a lot of FOMO at a point too, where I felt like I had to go to every single event. I had to not turn down anything. Like, I was running myself so thin for so much that now I'm just like, is this going to help me? Is this going to build me up? Is this going to break me down? How am I going to benefit from this? How is my mental health today? Like, could I do this? Could I go to this event? To really know what's for me. And honestly, if something is for you, no matter what, it's going to work out. The opportunity is going to come back to you. So just really put yourself out there. If this is what you love and this is what you love doing, and everything falls into place naturally, and it could be the best thing that ever happened to you. So also, don't compare yourself to other creators online. Everybody's journey is different, and just don't copy people as well. Like, it kind of cringes me when I see people copy other people. It's great to get inspiration from someone, but copying an idea wholesale, people notice. Creators notice. It kind of makes you look bad. So just, it's great to get inspiration, but, and you know what, like, it's also easy to have the same idea as someone. So I could see how sometimes people might think somebody's copying them, because some ideas, especially trends, it's something that people constantly do. So again, don't beat yourself up if you're on the other end thinking someone is copying you, because most likely it's a trend. But if you as a creator genuinely just copying someone wholesale, like, think twice about that. Because guess what? You have a lot of creative ideas, and sometimes what worked for that person and that person audience might not work for you. So I think that is all I want to talk about today. We could probably have a part 2 based on the questions you all have about this industry. It's a very interesting industry, and it changes every day. And I also say that social media is not something permanent. It could be deleted in a twinkle of an eye, like TikTok, for instance. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you need to have a backup plan. in the event that a platform goes down tomorrow and it's your sole income, what is your backup plan? So yeah, a lot of creators have full-time jobs. Some just don't talk about it. Mine just happened to be basically the same industry. So while I am an influencer, I also work with influencers. And which is so great also, because while I work with brands as an influencer, I get to work with brands on the client side as well. So I'm able to vouch for influencers. I'm able to say what works, what doesn't work, come up with an idea, have that inside scoop on like what audiences might like, what they might like, be able to give market research. So that is why my full-time job doesn't feel like a job, and it honestly still feels like a hobby because it's something I love. And I could talk about marketing and digital and content creating on social media for hours if you start up a conversation with me, because it's my huge passion and I just love it. And I think probably this is where I'm gonna stay for the rest of my life and just keep evolving as social media evolves. I don't think I could ever go back using my degree. Who knows? We'll see. But this is what brings me happiness, and I was just so fortunate to be able for it to work out like that. So yeah, I hope you all really enjoyed this episode and that was helpful. And I can't wait for you all to see next week's episode. So until next time, before I go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify, because some episodes you could just listen to in the car, like my traffic talks. Some episodes I will say at the beginning, like, you should watch this episode versus listening to it, because I'm going to show some visuals. So yeah, I'm trying to cater for everyone on different platforms. But I hope this was helpful, and until next time, bye guys.